Hi, welcome to the tutorial. Today we're going to be making this. Now, if you're having panic attacks, don't. It's not as difficult as it looks. Let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do is create a new Fusion composition. So we're going to go up to our media pool just here. Right click, go down and click New Fusion Composition. And we'll call it 3D Text. That's my Irish heritage creeping in there. So I'm going to drag that into the timeline like so. I'll make it roughly the same size as this one actually. Then we're going to click over it, make sure your bar's over it like that, and then we're going to go down to here and we're going to go into Fusion. So here we are inside of Fusion. First thing we need is a text 3D node. Then we need a merge. Then we need a camera. Spotlight, and to connect it all to the DaVinci 2D world we need a renderer 3D. We connect all of these into the merge like this. The merge goes out to the renderer and then the renderer goes out to the media out like that. Now as before, I am dyslexic, so I'm going to copy my text in. Clicking on the text 3D, go in there like that, and we see absolutely nothing in the window. And the reason for that is because I'm going to put up two windows here. I'm going to put the camera by clicking on this dot in the left hand side. And move the camera back, you'll see that's why. Our camera is actually in the same position as our text. Clicking on the text, I'm going to change the font. Like that one, so we're going to go with that. I'm going to change the color to a bluish, somewhere around there like that. Now what we need to do is, let's take our text and put it in the side window like that. So here's our text. We're going to go down to the bottom of the text and extrude it. You see that? So that's a good extrusion. Give it some subdivisions, bit of a bevel and a bevel width. We're going to go in and pull our camera back out again, like so. I'm going to go into our front view by right clicking on here and going front. Just going to raise our camera up a little bit. There we are, like that. Now let's shed some light on it. So here's our spotlight right here. Now if I go to the top view, again right click. If I got the light selected, if I go across to the transform, there's this little tick box here that says use target. Very handy. If you click it, then you can move your light around and it'll always focus on the text. So we're going to go to frame 0. I'm going to go to the front view. We're going to raise that up and do that. We're going to create a keyframe on the transform. We're going to go through to frame 70. Go back to the top view and bring that over like so. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our spline window just here. Hit zoom to fit. Select all these keyframes with your left mouse button. Hit S to smooth. And then go right down to the bottom here, and where it says ping pong, we're going to do that. And then what that'll do is it'll create a bouncing animation of that light. Now you'll notice that we're not actually seeing any light on our text, and there's a very good reason for that. And the reason is, if you click on this merge 3D here, you need to click this tick box that says pass through lights. Then you need to click on the renderer and enable lights and enable shadows. And now we can see we're starting to get a bit of light. We'll call this one F2 top light. Grab another light, bring that in. F2, kind of call it bottom light. Like that. We're going to connect that into our merge 3D. We're going to go to our top view. We're going to do the same thing again, go to our transform, hit use target. And what we're going to do is going to bring that back like that and bring it across to our right like that. There we are. We're going to go to frame 0. We're going to create a keyframe on the translation like this. We're going to go through to frame say 55. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to move this over here like that. Oh, actually we need to make sure it's in the right position. Go to the front view. we need to bring it down. So let's go down. Then let's go to our next keyframe, which is frame 50, and make sure it's down as well. So we've got a nice balance of light, one going across the top, one going across the bottom. We should also add a rear light, so let's do that as well. So I'm going to drag across here, grab a spotlight, bring it in, connect it into our media just here. F2, we'll call it rear. Go to the top view, make sure it's targeting the text, pull it forward like that, go across to the side like so, and you can see straight away in this window as soon as I do that it comes in like that. Let's change our values. So in the top light just here, if we go into our controls just here, we have something called no decay on, and what that means is that irrespective of where the light is, it's always going to be the same, which is not actually how the real world works. So we need to change that to quadratic like that, and immediately the light dims in value. Let's change this light value to say 25. Let's do the same for the bottom light. So going to the controls, I'm going to change this to quadratic. I'm going to change this value to say 35. We're also going to play with the cone angle. So that's that circular bit just there. So if I increase that in size, let's do the same for the top light as well. Increase it in size. And we're also going to play with something called the penumbra angle, which is basically the softness of the edges of the light. So let's just increase that as well. I'm going to do the same for the bottom light as well. Let's add a background in. We just drag in our background that we got from Vector Easy, and it automatically creates a merge for us. Now the first thing you'll notice is that everything's vanished, and that's because it's come in as a foreground. So we need to right click on here and go swap inputs, and there we are. Now if I go back into the main timeline, you'll see straight away that our text looks incredibly small. And the reason for that is because the video is actually a lot bigger than the composition of the text. So we can fix that, and I've just noticed I haven't named the background, so let's do that as well. If I hit F2, we'll call that background vector, as in Vector Easy. Then what we're going to do is going to go Shift Spacebar, and we're looking for a resize node, which is RES. There we are. We're going to add that, and you'll notice straight away the background's fixed. The other thing we should do while we're here is add a bit of a blur to that background, and that will just give us a bit of a depth. So clicking on this resize, Shift Spacebar, looking for a blur. Let's just add that. Zoom in. We just need to knock it a little bit out, not too much. About there will do. Right, now we need to duplicate our text. I think I'm also going to increase the lighting as well. It looks very dark. Let's increase this to 40. And increase that one to 45. Yeah, that looks cool. Right, so how you duplicate text in the 3D world is we grab this text 3D, you go across here like that, and you shift spacebar, and we're looking for a duplicate. We actually need 2 of them. I'm actually going to disconnect that. I'm going to go shift spacebar again, add another duplicate. I'm going to take this text node, connect it into here. This text node, connect it into here. We're going to drag in another merge node just here, and we're going to connect our duplicates into that like so, and then we're going to connect that merge into here like that. Now if I click on this top duplicate and come across to the right, it says 2. We're going to change that from 2 to 4, and then what we're going to do is we're going to offset it in the Y angle. Now in my original animation it was quite cramped like that, and I didn't like it, so I'm going to give it a bit more space. So it's 1.014. Need to remember that. Before we continue, we also need to change the time offset. So come up here and change that to 8. Then we're going to go down to this bottom one, and we're going to do exactly the same thing again. We're going to give it 4, and we're going to change the time offset to 8. And we're going to go down to our Y translation, or Y offset I should say, and we're going to make it -1.4. That'll do. Let's go to our camera. What we're going to do is we're going to go to frame 120 and we're going to create a keyframe on our camera on the translation. Let's just move this out actually so we can see our text. So there's all our copies. Now what I need to do is select all of these, and guess what? We're going to add another duplicate. So Shift spacebar, add a duplicate. This time it's copying all of those. So if I come up to here and make sure time offset again is set to 8, and then I can move it off in the x-axis. Another thing I'm going to do on this one is on the scale where it says 1, I'm going to make that 0.95. Okay, so we need to do the other side now. So on that duplicate, Shift spacebar, add another duplicate. This time we're adding 2 as before. Change the offset to 8 and the scale to 0.95. And then we're going to move it in the X angle, like about there. So now let's adjust our camera. We'll go to frame 120 and we're going to move it right in like so. So it's focused on that middle one. It's created the keyframes. We also need to keyframe the rotation as well. Go to frame 0. What we're going to do this time is we're going to move the camera back. We're going to move it to the side like so. Move it in, move it in, move it in, move it in. Now up here on the top you see it's got move and rotate. We're going to click on rotate now. If we move this one, look at that, and then we can do this, rotate again, move it again. What we're trying to get is just the little bit of light that starts to come in. Let's do this, like about there. There we are, that's cool. Now when we play it, right, let's go back to our text. What we need to do now is add the scramble to it, and the way we do that is exactly the same way we did it in the 2D world, and that's right click in this space here, hit text scramble. We're going to go through to frame 0 and we are going to give it a value of 1.3. Then go through to frame 150 and take that down to 0. There we are, done. Looking very cool, but we can make it even better. Let me show you how. So when you look at professional animations by the big studios, they always involve some kind of like depth of field, and they also add some kind of environment to it, a foggy environment or something like that. We can add lens blur in camera depth blur in DaVinci Fusion, but the one that comes with it nearly melted my computer, so I came up with a kind of workaround, and that's this. So the first thing we need to do is click on this merge, Shift space bar, we're looking for lens blur, which is this one here. We're going to add that. Immediately our screen has gone blurry. We're going to drag in a background node and we're going to put that in the window. We're going to come over here and change it to gradient. We're going to bring this in a little bit. Now on the black one, come down to here where it says alpha and do that, take it all the way down to 0. Now if I connect this background in to the lens blur into the blue input, make sure the line turns blue, that means it's a mask, and what that means is I'm going to increase this blur just to give it, exaggerate it, but essentially anything in black is in focus, anything not in black is out of focus, and hope you can see that. And we can animate all of this, and we're going to do that now. So let's swap this around. Let's go to our blur. We're on frame 130. We're going to make it 0, create a keyframe. We're going to go to frame, say, 80, and just give it a little bit of a blur. Go to frame 0, give it a lot of blur. Let's just change our gradient out as well. There we are. On the gradient, when you've got it selected, come over here to start and end and just create keyframes like that. And then what we can do is when we get to frame 80, we can start to bring it down like that. And by the time it gets to frame 130, we're looking good. We can do also one final thing which will really make this text pop out. And if I click on the lens blur and go Shift Spacebar and hit and raise, we're going to bring these light rays in just here. And look at that. How cool is that? And we can actually animate this. So we've got a position value here. So I can just grab this and bring it down. I can also increase the brightness and just make it pop. I think I'm actually going to increase the lights. Look at this top light. Let's make that 50. Go to this bottom light and make that 60. There we are, that's better. So on the light rays, this is all animatable. We're at frame 130. What we'll do is we'll mess around with this position first. We'll go to frame 0. I like the position there, so I'm going to click a keyframe, go to frame, say 60. Bring it down. Go to frame 120. Bring it across. Go to frame 220. Bring it up. Go right to the end. Oh, we've lost our video. And the reason for that is, if we go back to our background video just here, what you need to do is, it's actually shorter than our composition. So just click on this, loop, and it will continue to loop, so you don't have that problem. So on the last frame, I'm going to go to our light rays and we're going to move that down. Oh, come on, you bugger. There we are. We'll do that. Then what we'll do is we'll mess with the length and the brightness. So let's go to, say, frame 150. I like that brightness, so I'm going to click a keyframe there. Go to frame 90. Increase the brightness. Kind of like that. Go to frame 40. Actually, I like that all the way through. I'm going to keep it on that. By the time it gets to 150, it'll be back to something subtle like that. Go to frame 270. Let's just increase the brightness a little bit. Go to frame 300, 340. Just knock it up a little bit as well. I think we're done. Let's play that back and see how that looks. The only thing that needs doing now is, let's go back in quickly. Let's go to our camera. Our camera finishes here at frame 120. Let's bring up 2 windows. So it finishes at frame 120. What we need it to do is when it gets to frame 350, I just want to pull it back a little bit. Not too much. Just about there, just to give it some subtlety. Let's just check the splines. Yeah, we need to soften them as well. S to soften. There we are. And let's go back and view that. Hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Hope it gave you an insight into DaVinci 3D. It's not as bad as you think. If you've got any comments, please leave them below the video. I do read them. And if you want me to do any tutorials on any specific areas, let me know in the comments as well. See you in the next one.